What does that mean to you, Black History Month?
It means that that's racism because they don't celebrate White History Month. We don't have it. I'm part Italian. I don't have Italian History Month. So what I think it's doing is perpetuating what this divide is in our nation, quite honestly, because I don't feel like that should be highlighted. I don't think that they should be pushing their agenda on myself because I'm a straight male, I have a wife, and I have children. I don't think that I should have to be bombarded and brainwashed through media, through those months or Pride, Black History. I don't think that's something that should be, dictated to me.
Is it a learning opportunity?
Not at all, because when I was in school, we learned, certain Black leaders, things like that. I don't need to hear it every single year for a whole month.
This question is for anybody who is not an American. Anybody who is not in the United States. If you are in the United States and you want an answer to this question too, just a heart. Just give me a like. That way we know how many people want an answer to this. But do not comment if you are in the States. I want these comments reserved for anybody who is not an American, anybody who is not in the United States. Here's my question. What do you see? What do you see happening here? What is getting reported on about what is happening in the United States here? We need to know what you see, whether you're in Belgium or France or in Uganda or anywhere. I don't care if you're in China. Anywhere but the United States. What do you see getting reported about what's happening here? Please drop it in my comments. And then I would like to ask you a really important question. Since we here have decided to become 1930s Germany, who out there is going to become our 1940s America and save us from ourselves?
White people that were killed in Africa. Look here. They were all killed in Africa. There's nothing you can say and try to change the way I feel about how our race is under attack. Because that's living fucking proof.
As a former Trump-loving conservative, at the very heart of the MAGA movement, especially amongst white MAGA men, is this fear that white men are being discriminated against. And unfortunately, with MAGA men, they want to be the center of the narrative. They're so used to being the standard in this country that diversity, equity, and inclusion begins to feel like discrimination to them. And of course, they don't care about facts. This is why he said, there's nothing you can say that's going to change my mind. All those white farmers who are losing their lives. When the actual facts state less than 1% of white farmers have been unalived in South Africa. Not to mention that white people make up 7% of the population in South Africa, yet they own 76% of the land. So please remind me how they're being oppressed. Tell me exactly how they're being victimized. White men make up 30 to 31% of our overall population in the United States, yet there's a new study that found that white men hold 62% of all elected offices. Just in 2020, white men made up 85.8% of Fortune 500 CEOs. And that was a decline from 96% just in 2000. You see, the truth is, confident white men are not threatened by the idea of there being a level playing field or other demographics of people getting equal opportunities. If you just look at the videos under the sound of that song, the vast majority of white men who feel threatened are mediocre at best. And Trump makes them feel safe in all their isms and phobias because when Trump is president, they don't ever have to learn another new thing in their life.
Fatigue. It's all over my FYP page. Thank you.
This motherfucker right here. I'm going to try my best to be the man I want to be and not the man I used to be. Don't you dare talk about us white folks, you racist man. Oh, black fatigue. It's so fucking thing for black fatigues all over the place. Fuck you. I want to talk about white fatigue. I'm so fucking sick of you fucking white people. So fucking sick of MAGA. I have MAGA fatigue coming out my fucking ears. You racist, uninteresting, fucking generic ass mayonnaise fucking people. Shut up! Bullshit going around talking about a race war, the whites outnumbered. Bitch, you ain't got but a quarter of the white population on your side at best. You all will lose and lose every fucking thing. You refuse to see the humanity in anyone who does not see it like you. You have no allies but your own cracker ass selves. So I've been in too many fucking meetings as a fellow middle-aged cisgender white man to heard y'all racist asses say some racist ass shit. And I know because I'm in the room where it fucking happens with you, boy. I fucking know. You gonna look me in my fucking white ass face and tell me, no, we're not like that. Bitch, please. You don't think that the African American people of color are sick of our shit? And this motherfucker in this video talking about, oh, we've been dealing with this for 40 years. Motherfucker, they've been dealing with it for 400. And I try to be the person I want to be, not the person I was. But this shit pisses me the fuck off. This is the shit at 20 years old. You would have caught a two-piece, boy. No 2 cents a fucking about it. You racist ass fucking cracker, it would have been fucking over. We are not the same. You do not speak for all white people. More white people I know side with me than with you. A lot of white people shut up because we don't want to deal with your ass. It's just easier to ignore you. But when you leave the room, we all talk shit about you and your racist ass ways. Deal with that. And when the Lord comes, you're going to deal with him too. And I know my humble ass words are not going to make a fucking difference to your arrogant ass. You think you already fucking know it all. And I ain't about you. I ain't talking trying to change your fucking mind. I'm talking so when the civilization collapses, the record that I spoke up to let these fucking crackers know they didn't change me. Yeah. Fuck you. And anybody who bitches about black fatigue, you racialize this behavior and then you attribute it to the whole entire culture of a people. Where you excuse the same fucking behavior from piece of shit fucking white people every goddamn day. I come from a little hick red ass town where I see this shit fucking constantly. I'm not currently there, but I fucking know this in my fucking bones. What the fuck is your Jesus gonna say about you? I bet a fucking dollar you call yourself a Christian. And what is Jesus gonna say about you? You know in your soul, I hope if you still fucking haven't sold it to the fucking Donald Trump, this is not where they wanted. The place you're gonna end up, hot as fuck and all alone. Have the fucking day you deserve, and that's it. You get the energy you put out into this fucking world for the rest of your fucking life. I hope that's all you get. I try. We gotta say something. We cannot let this shit slide. I am at my wit's fucking end. We are better than this, folks. We need to be better than this. We are better than this. Quit selling your fucking dignity and morality for the possibility of fucking power and money, because it's not coming. Look into your fucking humanity and to your neighbor. It's not going to be Trump. It's not going to be Elon. You're gonna lose your fucking soul for these fucking billionaires. Have the day you fucking deserve.
I like to load up all my boys in the back of a U-Haul truck. In the back of a U-Haul truck is the best place to get butt fucked. Pile all my boys up in a U-Haul truck. We take our mask off because it's better to suck them up. We proud so we rent from U-Haul on the down low when we in the back of the U-Haul.
34-time convicted felon and rapist, and Elon Musk came to the country on a student visa, immediately dropped out of school, which you can't do on a student visa, then opened a business, which you can't do on a student visa, which means that he has a citizenship on an illegal basis. So as soon as those two are locked up behind bars, I will be ready to move on to
Here's something that's really quite simple. Imagine a bunch of black or brown people covering their face and their eyes with sunglasses, walking around with the same kind of uniforms with a bunch of flags, saying a bunch of hateful words. How quickly do you think the cops would be called? And why was that not the same response given in Kansas City or any other time that these idiots walk the streets in their khakis and their blue shirts? Could there be a problem in this country? There it is. Yeah, now we agree, right? Weird.
News right now, Donald Trump has just announced that he is signing an executive order later today that will instruct the Department of Defense and DHS to prepare a 30,000 in-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
So this is what I was talking about. This is stage 7, preparation, one of the 10 stages of genocide. You guys know what happens at Guantanamo Bay, right? Everybody knows. And now we're going to be building a 30,000 person facility to house migrants there. What do you think is going to happen? You think they're ever going to leave? You think they're ever going to get to a different destination? Isn't it convenient that they're building this facility offshore, out of the public purview, at a place that's already shrouded in secrecy? This is not a mistake, guys. They are preparing for genocide. This is preparation in action. This is step 7. And I know I told you earlier in the series that you don't have to follow in linear order step by step. There's a reason I skipped step 6. It's because today this was announced. As you are learning about genocide today, preparation is happening.
Here's a video that'll cheer you up. I know MAGA is stupid, but how dumb do you have to be to go to a punk concert wearing a SS Nazi shirt? You know, I don't want to glorify violence. I don't want to condone violence. With one exception, I condone and I glorify violence against Nazis.
Each and every man under my command owes me 100 Nazi scalps.
I am headed to Muay Thai after I shoot this video because my knuckles have finally healed so I can train again. My single greatest motivator for going to the gym is so that I can be physically prepared to fight fascists and fight Nazis. Fuck Nazis. Fuck fascists.
Is there a white genocide in South Africa?
No, there's no sign of it, never has been. In fact, whites are economically the strongest group. They benefited from democracy more than anybody else. 64% of all boardrooms in South Africa are still white. The average income of white South Africans are vastly higher than black South Africans. No. They have better schools, they have better education, they have private health care. This is the land of milk and honey if you're white.
Has any land been expropriated in South Africa without compensation since the first all-race election in this country?
I'm not aware of anyone. Not a single farm that I'm aware of was expropriated without compensation since 1994.
So how do we interpret President Trump's executive order?
It is possible that South Africa has offended the United States with its policy on the Palestinians, and it could be that with its policy on Russia, the ambiguities of those policies and its relationship with the Chinese. It could be. I think that does play a role. But there was something very, very sensitive that was touched upon. And in South Africa, right-wing groups, so-called civil society groups, we know that they have access to the Trump administration because they claim that. And if you listen to what Trump has said, it corresponds exactly with the genocide narrative that they sell and that they market, and that whites are victims of the democratic system and the constitution in South Africa and legislation. So there's an overlay, there's an immediate overlay, there's an unquestionable overlay between what Trump says and these right-wing groups have said. So I'm afraid I have to believe them when they say they have direct access to the Trump administration, and we see it in what Trump has been doing.
And it's when I saw this. So a black person in the United States during the Jim Crow era faced second-class citizenship, disenfranchisement, barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, and barriers to housing. Then we had the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which stated we could no longer do any of this. We could no longer discriminate based on race. So in 2023, what is the only group of people that we can legally discriminate against? We can legally relegate to second-class citizenship, create barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, barriers to housing. If you answered convicted felon, you are absolutely correct. In 2023, a convicted felon is the only group of people that we can legally do all this to. Now, do you believe it's a coincidence that 1 in 3 black males carry this label as convicted felon as opposed to 1 in 17 white males? If you answered yes to that question, let's take a look at what's happened since the dismantling of the Jim Crow laws. We've had a 700% increase in our prison population. We've gone from 300,000 inmates to as high as 2.3 million. Now, I do believe we're back down to about 1.8 million today. We had the law and order agenda, which was an increase in police spending and a decrease in school funding, which created the school to prison pipeline. We also had the war on drugs, which we now know was a war on people. We had the 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act, and we had the 1994 Crime Bill. Now, the 86 Anti-Drug Abuse Act differentiated between rock cocaine and powder cocaine, which we know predominantly impacted the black community. And the 94 Crime Bill created harsher sentences, lengthier sentences, and minimum mandatories. We also know that black people make up 53% of all exonerations, 69% of exonerations for drug crimes, and they're 7 times more likely to be wrongly convicted. So when I seen all of this, I realized that racism in this country never ended. We have a systemic issue. People ask me,
it goes by, it seems to me, I find out that my own race is lying to me and has been lying to me, has been lying to my ancestors and to my family and blah, 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 yada, yada. They've been lying to themselves since long before I was born. I'm not listening to the lies anymore. There are those that wonder why black history is so important to me, that wonder why the black culture and the black race is so important to me, because it is. Because they are human. And they have been demonized my entire life. They've been minimized, demonized, and I don't see any proof of this. I don't see it. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing things that show them to be as kind-hearted, as wonderful as anybody else. In many ways, they are more so. And there are those that don't understand it. There are those that understand why it's so important. Well, I'll tell you why it's important, because it's important. I don't want to be lied to anymore. So I have to look for myself. I have to go and look for myself. And that's what I need to do, and that's what I'm going to do. There are those that may not understand it and don't accept it. That's your choice. But the human race, doesn't matter what your skin color is, doesn't matter what your orientation is, your gender identity, it doesn't matter to me. If you're human, then you are important. Unless, of course, you're a Republican who's trying to destroy everybody else. There will be no unity with me, with Republicans. I'm done. I used to be a conservative Republican. Never. I am so glad I walked away. I'm so glad I had the brain cells to walk away. I am a full-fledged, dyed-in-the-wool liberal Democrat. I believe in freedom. I believe freedom extends to everybody, not just certain people within an age range or gender or skin color. Not this free white and over 21 bullshit. Freedom is for everybody. Everybody deserves it. So, I just had to get that off my chest.
Dear white people, stop saying that the Carmelo Anthony case isn't about race, because it 100% is. From the beginning, y'all have decided that he is guilty. The police are still doing their investigation, like the prosecutor's office doesn't even have the file on their desk yet. But you've assumed he's guilty. Meanwhile, the US runs off the legal principle that it's innocent until proven guilty. Meanwhile, grown white men can unalive black children in cold blood and still get sympathy. They still get the benefit of the doubt. Then there's the judge who is overseeing his bond hearing. She's a black woman and she's Republican. And you thought her being Republican was going to serve you. You kept saying, this isn't going to go the way you think it is. You can't pull the race card this time. You assumed that she would be harsh on Carmelo Anthony to prove her loyalty to white supremacy. But when she didn't, when she lowered the bond like she's legally has the right to do, you lost your minds. You harassed her, you were racist, threatened her, you flooded her social media accounts with so much racist hate that she had to shut down her pages. All because she didn't do what you expected a black woman to do in the service of your comfort. But go ahead, keep telling yourself this isn't about race. Keep pretending like your outrage is about justice. It's not. You're not mad about the system. You're mad that for once it didn't cater to white supremacy. That a black child wasn't immediately discarded. That a black woman had the audacity to use her power in a way you didn't approve of. And how evil do you have to be to legitimately think that any of this is okay? I made a previous video talking about so many instances where black people were murdered and their white murderers got away with it. It was a sliver of the actual numbers. And no one white flinched. That's not apathy, that's not ignorance. That's pure fucking evil. You care more about your reputation of not being racist than actual racism. You want the image of a good person without the actual soul of one. And since some of you want to claim being Christian, let me leave you with this. If anyone says, I love God and hates his brother, he is a liar. 1 John 4:20. And using God to justify your racism is blasphemy. And God will hold you accountable. And if you've made it this far and you're uncomfortable or you're angry, you should be with yourself.
Child. Anyway, so
there will come a time where everyone will pretend that they were always on the right side of this. And the only remaining variable in this equation is how many additional lives are lost between now and then.
If you're wondering why the Klan is so quiet right now in the United States, it's because they've all become ICE agents.
I think conservative ideology after this can never be a thing anymore. Having a group of people who all believe in the exact opposite of progress, like, it just doesn't work in terms of progressing as a society. Like, it just doesn't. You can't have one group of people that are working actively against progress and expect them not to eventually stoop to these levels. I don't think it's a coincidence that it always ends up here. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that they consistently start to lose in history and then they fucking throw out the playbook and just start doing some really evil, heinous shit for 50 years to get people really, really, like, it's fucking, it's disgusting. It's evil. These are evil people. They're evil. They just are. Not necessarily the people that have been manipulated into following it. The people causing this. The ideology itself is evil. It just is. I don't mean like a biblical evil. It's textbook evil. And I don't think it should be allowed to be around anymore. And I don't think that's an insane take to have, actually. I don't think it's an insane take to be like, hey, these evil people throughout history who have all done the exact same shit over and over again, why don't we just stamp out everything they stand for?
I don't want to... When they attack black people after they've been murdered, when they did absolutely nothing wrong, you're pushing us to the limit. And what do I mean by that? You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. What happened in Georgia? There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They were absolute savages. They murdered people, they lynched people, they raped people, they enslaved people. They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen.
And
so don't you dare call a black man a savage after you murdered him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not by them. For God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't, but if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers in the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages. They snatched babies, and they sold them as property, and they raped their mothers. Savages. That's what they were. You want to talk about stereotypes? Screw all of you who still defend that Confederacy. That monstrosity. Anyone who defends that is a barbaric savage.
That's why they don't want to teach American history in public schools. That's why there's been a strong orchestrated effort to prevent the teaching of anything that you just mentioned right now. Because, hey, God forbid that, children learn about the real savages in this country's history.
In Nigeria, which is, if not the most corrupt nation in Africa, and it is, it could be the most corrupt nation in the world, Minister Farrakhan.
Oh, now, Mr. Wallace.
It is the most corrupt nation that I have ever covered. I've been there 25 years ago, and I've been there as recently as last year.
Fine. So what? 35 years old. That's what that nation is. Now, here's America, 226 years old. You love democracy? But there in Africa, you're trying to force these people into a system of government that you just have accepted 30 years ago. Black folk got the right to vote. You're not in any moral position to tell anybody how corrupt they are. You should be quiet and let those of us who know our people go there and help them get out of that condition. But America should keep her mouth shut wherever there's a corrupt regime, as much hell as America has raised on the earth. No, I will not allow America, or you, Mr. Wallace, to condemn them as the most corrupt nation on earth when you have spilled the blood of human beings. Has Nigeria dropped an atomic bomb and killed people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Have they killed off millions of Native Americans? How dare you put yourself in that position as a moral judge? I think you should keep quiet, because with that much blood on America's hands, you have no right to speak. I will speak because I don't have that blood on my hand. Yes, there's corruption there. Yes, there's mismanagement of resources. Yes, there is abuse. There's abuse in every nation on earth, including this one. So let's not play holy to moralize on them. Let's help them.
I'm not moralizing. I'm asking a question, and I got an answer.
Why would you put it as the most corrupt regime in the world? That doesn't make sense.
Can you think of one more corrupt?
Yeah, I'm living in one. I'm living in one. Yes, you've done a hell of a thing on this earth, so you should not be the one to talk. You should be quiet when it comes to moral condemnation, in my judgment.
Please listen to me. Everything that we have been saying since Trump began this term has indicated to us that we are going to war. This has nothing to do with placing America first. We're increasing the military budget to $1 trillion, according to J.D. Vance. It's not if we go to war, it is when we go to war. It's not to further American interests. It is not to safeguard our shores. It is not to take care of our troops. These recruitment ads, they're not a coincidence, especially the recruitment ads for the Nuke Smart program. I'm asking you as a veteran, please don't throw your lives away like this. Don't enlist. Recruitment numbers are everything. These leaders will not take care of you. They are incompetent. They were placed because they're loyalists, not because they know what they're doing. Look at his first term. Look at all the information that came out during Trump's first term. He has been waiting to use the military as his personal weapon. I wish that I was being dramatic. The last thing I want to see is fellow veterans coming home in flag-draped caskets. So listen to me. Do not enlist. Do not enlist. Do not enlist. Don't give them the numbers that they want. Your cannon fodder. Your bullet shields. This administration has proven they will not have your back. Please, don't throw your children away.
They do not want us seeing what's going on here. They're wrapping tape everywhere around us as we speak. Look at this. They're putting the tape way up here by the road. They do not want us documenting this. Look at this. This is worse than Nazi Germany, what's going on right here. They have 10 cars that they've pulled off of this highway. Look, there's cars blocked as far as you can see. They're just randomly pulling cars off of the road. There's 10 cars all in a row, all being searched. They're all having their constitutional rights violated right now. And these clowns are wrapping tape all around us because they don't want us to see what's going on. See, look, they're wrapping tape around us. They're not there to wrap me up in tape. I'm gonna take a step back, you guys. They're not gonna trap me in tape. That is the sheriff of Galveston County putting up crimes. It's First Amendment tape is what they're putting up. And now they're messing with John over here.
I want a divorce. I don't want to live with MAGA people anymore. I don't think that this is a sustainable model for society. We are never, ever, ever going to see eye to eye about how society should operate, period. I do not know what the solution to this is. But what I do know is that Donald Trump is destroying the structures that glued this country together, honestly, faster, more violently, and better than I think anyone could have ever imagined. So I think the likelihood of the United States continuing as one country is rapidly diminishing right before our eyes. And maybe, in the end, this will do us a favor. Maybe it'll even do the world a favor. Because I think the reality is, we can't live together. We just can't. And frankly, I honestly have no interest in trying to change anyone's mind. If you want to live that way, go for it. If you want to live in a completely reversed reality where no one knows how to read and no one takes any medicine and you all just kill each other over and over again with unmedicated pandemics, that's fine. I don't care what you do at all. I just don't want to be around it anymore. Genuinely.
I'm a veteran of the world's largest anti-fascist institution, the United States military, and I'm pissed. What we're experiencing is no longer partisan. If you're a veteran or someone who supports us, we're at a moment where you need to sit down and ask yourself if what the U.S. is experiencing aligns with the morals and sense of duty that were imbued in you when you first raised your right hand. If you believe in the Constitution of the United States, and I mean the whole thing, then there's no more room for acceptance for what this administration is doing to our country. On June 6th, the anniversary of D-Day at 2 p.m., join me and thousands of other veterans, service members, and public servants in Washington, D.C. as we march to unite for veterans and unite for America. Because when the executive branch ignores a 9-0 Supreme Court judicial order to return a U.S. citizen who was illegally deported, we no longer maintain the rule of law. When institutions are stripped of federal funding for not parroting dangerous and bigoted rhetoric, we no longer have freedom of speech. And when voting rights are openly stripped from 50% of the electorate, we no longer have a democracy. So join us as we stand up against the privatization of the VA, because Elon Musk would rather save money on our deaths than provide care for veterans. Join us as we fight to protect federal jobs that are disproportionately held by veterans who are continuing their public service. Join us as we refuse to allow the nation that we love to slip further into the hands of authoritarianism. Oh, but Megan, what good does protesting do? Organizing people into collective public action works. When enough of us don't shrug our shoulders and resign ourselves to a life of fear and cynicism online. This app, this video, the comment section, the memes, and the constant news stories that bombard you at all hours, this is not your community. Your community is out there. If you're waiting for a moment when things get real to join, this is the moment. The nation I chose to serve, the Constitution I chose to defend, and the people of this country I care for are not at threat, they are actively crumbling. You have a role beyond the ballot box they threaten to burn in standing against this. So join us as we commemorate the day US forces stormed the beaches of Normandy to fight against tyranny and fascism. Veterans, service members, and all of those who support us, these policies are not only stripping us of our care, but they go against everything we know to be morally right. So I'll see you on the National Mall for D-Day.
Did you know that Memorial Day was created in 1865 by 10,000 newly freed Black American men, women, and children? Yep. They cleaned the burial grounds, they sang songs, and effectively they healed together as a community, in which they called, quote, Decoration Day, end quote. Yeah, so shout out to every single veteran and American, especially the Black Americans who built this country.
White folks, if you do not know who Ibrahim Traoré is, you need to look it up. If you don't know the history of Burkina Faso and their leadership, you need to look it up. And look up, while you're at it, other leaders in Africa. Look up the South African leader and how they're speaking. Look up the leaders of Niger and how they're speaking. Look up what's happening in Africa, because it is our own salvation that is in the hands of, or needs to be in the hands of, African leadership, and they're standing up, and we should support that. Let me tell you why. See, our culture is a death-based culture. Our culture has been trying to rule and dominate and control resources that exist in Africa, resources that we need in these northern regions. And so rather than just be a part of humanity and ask for these resources, we have done everything to manipulate and to lie and to cheat and to steal and to harm and to create weaponize and wars in Africa amongst Africans, and do whatever we can to distract and extract and exploit African resources. But the greatest African resource is the humans that live there. And they have a level of humanity that is not in white culture. I speak about it constantly in Race for What. We don't understand that our systems are designed without love in mind, and African leadership and African people have a sense of love that we don't understand how to tap into. It's not that we're not capable of learning it, though. We can. We need to understand this transitional period where the colonial empires are being recognized for how wicked we are, even though they're so far advanced in this game. Yet all of the advancements in technology, all of the advancements in life and understanding and our connection right now that we have on this planet and have access to, if put in the right hands, can actually heal the planet. And therefore, our responsibility as those who have been weaponized is to support what is happening in Burkina Faso.
The place we call Egypt was never called Egypt. Its original name was Kemet, meaning the Black Land. And no, that wasn't just about soil. It was about the people. Kemet was a black civilization. Its first rulers, its architects, its gods, its scribes were African. But Western historians stripped the melanin from its story. They gave us images of pale pharaohs and golden sands, and buried the truth under centuries of whitewashing. The people of Kemet studied the stars, mapped the constellations, practiced advanced medicine, and built pyramids that still defy explanation today. They created a 365-day calendar before Rome, performed brain surgery before Europe left the Dark Ages. They invented writing systems, legal codes, and engineering techniques still in use. And their rulers, like Pharaoh Narmer, who unified Upper and Lower Kemet in 3100 BC, weren't myth. They were black monarchs whose bloodline stretched for millennia. But when colonizers arrived, They renamed it, repackaged it, and told the world Africa had no history. They erased Kemet to protect a lie, that civilization was born in the West. Follow if you believe this is the Africa we should have learned about, because that broke me. Drop a if this shattered what you were taught about Egypt, and if you want part 2, where we name the pharaohs they hid and the temples they buried, say the word. We're producing it now.
Black fatigue. It's all over my FYP page.
We're going to circle back to that, I promise.
Thank you. I am so happy that this is being brought up. And oh, by the way, for us white people that have been around the block a long time, this isn't new to us. We've been dealing with this for over 40 years. Here's my story.
I'm going to save you the 7-minute racist story that he goes on to tell. I'm just curious. This is what makes you happy? Additionally, this is what happiness looks like? You look like you're a dime short of 10 cents. These people are falling all over themselves to come on the internet and tell us how for 40 years they've just been suffering in racist silence, and now they think it's fine to tell the general public about their true beliefs, which is how racist they are. And gee willikers, I wonder where they got that idea. Taking the term black fatigue away from black people and co-opting it into a phrase that means I'm tired of black people is just about the most on-the-nose white person thing to fucking do. Also, FYP page, what you're saying is For You page. Grandpa, read a book. Log off.
The head of ICE reported that attacks against ICE agents have gone up 400% since last year. Classic case of FAFO, right? They're illegally detaining people, denying people due process, wearing masks, not identifying themselves, not using warrants. They're doing a bunch of blatantly unconstitutional, illegal things. And people are resisting? Yeah, that's FAFO.
Well, the Cuban community in Miami better have a seat for this one. Because Donald Trump is going after Cubans and Cuban Americans and has subjected them to a new harsh deportation order, including deporting a pro-Trump Cuban rapper who developed a song, an anthem, if you will, that was a huge part of him getting elected and winning Florida the last time around. See, when you ride the tiger, you fear the dismount. And everybody in the Cuban community in Miami, and I live in Miami, and I know them well, who thought, well, he's not going after our immigration group. He may be anti-immigrant, but he's not anti-Cuban. Well, you can now break out the smelling salts because he's going after the Cuban community. Now, there are some within the Cuban community, the hardliners, that gather, for coffee on Calle Ocho every day and talk about what's going on in Havana, that applauded Donald Trump going after certain people, like a 71-year-old who came and settled here in America because he used to be a member of the Communist Party in Cuba, and they celebrated on that. Now they're going after just ordinary Cuban and people that want to live the American dream. And how do you justify that in a county, for instance, in Miami-Dade County that's 70% Hispanic, and 50% of that is Cuban? I'm Michael Popak. You're here on Legal AF. Let's get down to, once again, Donald Trump not only disappointing, but attacking a core constituency that got him elected. And I'm going to particularly focus on the Cuban community, and not just because I'm in Miami, but because it matters that people recognize that Donald Trump is a charlatan, that he's a fraud. And now he's going around, because he doesn't care, he's going around attacking the very groups that got him elected. So they were happy on one hand, I suppose, when Tomas Hernandez, who was 71 years old and had worked in Cuba's foreign intelligence agency, migrating to the United States after that, got arrested at his Miami home and detained. They wanted a firmer hand, the Cuban Americans in Miami, to go after former members of Castro's party and get rid of them. I get it. It was called by one Latin American expert at Florida International University, FIU, a political gift to the Cuban American hardliners. But then, how do you explain that as part of the Trump's mass deportation pledge, he's now coming after some of the 2.4 million Cuban Americans who backed his presidency, not once, but twice. Look, I flew down to Miami during the last election. I flew down to Miami when Biden won the first time. And I saw the flags and the pickup trucks. I saw the chanting. I heard the rap music, and I heard, everything from everybody in the Democratic Party and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris being called socialists or communists or Marxists, or Kamala Harris being called Joe Biden's nurse, to worse. Okay. And one thing I've told people, knowing
Fatigue is when I can hear you 10 miles away in Walmart with your 5 fucking kids.
Yeah, because poor white people who live in rural parts of the United States are famously respectful and quiet when they walk up in Walmart with the 5 kids that they had with their second cousin.
Black fatigue is when you have no home training and you have no idea how to act in public.
In my high school, I saw 2 white pregnant 15-year-olds fist fight each other in the lunchroom, wearing Cookie Monster pajamas.
And a lot of it is culture. I've been in the hood. I've been in the fucking schools and the projects where I was the only white girl there.
Quick question, when you were at that school, did you read in a history book about how your grandmother was denied the right to vote and how your ancestors were brutalized and enslaved and eaten by their slave owners?
And I can 100% guarantee you that it's culture. When majority of y'all know someone who has been unalived by another black person.
Hey, so before you made this, did you look up the demographic statistics of school and, people who their entire family in cold blood?
Way more than any instance of a black person being unjustifiably unalived by the police. That's black fatigue.
All of you literally think every unarmed black person who was unalived by the police is completely justified. Breonna Taylor committed the crime of sleeping in her bed. Trayvon Martin was reaching for Skittles, and Ahmaud Arbery was going for a jog. All right?
As well as donating to Carmelo Anthony and Rodney Hinton Jr.
If I watched a police officer end my child's life in front of me and I was in a car, I'd run them over and you'd probably call me a hero. And I seem to remember another teenager who was carrying a weapon, warned people not to come near him. People without weapons came near him and then he used that weapon and ended their lives. His name was Kyle Rittenhouse. And y'all stand him to this day. If the kid who stabbed Austin Metcalf deserves to go to jail, then so does Kyle Rittenhouse.
When you aren't able to hold your own community accountable, that's a problem.
There is a Klan museum in the middle of downtown Kennesaw, Georgia. And when the white supremacist owner of it, Dent Myers, passed away, the Kennesaw government held it up to a vote on whether or not it stayed open, and the entire city of Kennesaw showed up in droves to make sure that that Klan museum stayed open. And you wonder why minorities feel unsafe in this country. We literally have no right to tell people how to hold their own accountable.
That's a problem. We're not going to sit here and act like this is new now, because now white people are speaking out.
I can't believe that y'all just spent the last 10 years telling everybody that Democrats were the real racists.
Especially when we've been told for so long to feel sorry for our whiteness.
No one wants you to feel sorry for your whiteness. There are still black Americans alive today who remember not being able to drink from the same water fountains and not getting a quality education and being shunned from being able to build wealth in this country. And before Cory Booker broke the record for the longest filibuster, it was previously held by a white supremacist segregationist who was trying to stop the Civil Rights Act. And you think that because the history book acknowledges that very real fact that you're being made to feel guilty about your race? No.
And that we have white tea privilege, whatever the fuck that means.
People with non-white names are statistically less likely to get hired for jobs. And back when Donald Trump was busy building his real estate empire instead of ruining my country, he was found liable for denying non-white tenants.
For something no white person alive today did.
Yeah, maybe the white people alive today didn't do it, but the flags that were flown by the people who did it are still being flown at full mast off the bed of every lifted Ford F-150 this side of the Mississippi, right next to the Blue Lives Matter sticker and the Trump flag.
And no black person alive today has experienced. There is no way that y'all thought that we would be quiet for this long.
Enlighten me. At what point in the last 20 years has the racism on the right been anything except loud, obnoxious, and disgusting?
No, having us on our knees, kissing BLM's feet, still begging for the reparations that you are not fucking owed because you did not go through what your ancestors went through.
When generation after generation, a certain race of people are systematically barred from climbing the social ladder of the country that they live in, it's gonna have a generational ripple effect.
Nobody cared about race until you started blaming white people for all of your current problems.
Hey, white here, racial segregation, caring that your skin is a certain color, that was us. We came up with that. That's an us thing.
We're just untolerating it.
When this pseudo edgelord psyop that we're calling the MAGA movement runs its course, and all of you are done having your little hissy fits because you feel just a little bit more comfortable finally being open about your racism, I hope this video and videos like these follow all of you to every job interview you ever go to. And I hope that you're in an unemployment line for the rest of your existence.
Quick PSA. If you're white, then your opinion about what is or isn't racism does not matter. It doesn't matter. We've never been harmed by a system that punishes us simply for having pale skin. So we should spend a lot more time listening to the experience of people that have lived and continue to live through a system like that, and a lot less time arguing about shit we have no clue about.
So I'm sure you all have seen that we've been censored a bit on this app. I've certainly noticed with the tank in my views, but something that I noticed recently is the message to Americans. If you haven't looked at it, it's videos from people around the world giving a message to us about what their country, their fellow citizens think about what's going on here. And if you type message to Americans in the search bar, you will see this image that says nothing is found, and that's being censored. Now, you can still find this if you type messaging to America, just add an ing to it. You'll start to see videos again, at least for now until it gets censored again. But this should worry us. This is supposed to be a country of free speech. It's our First Amendment right. It's the very first thing that's said, is our right to peacefully organize and peacefully protest and our freedom of speech. But that is not a right anymore, as we can clearly see. And we should all care about this. It's not a left issue, not a right issue. It's an everybody issue, because we all live here. And for now, you may be on the side of, you get to say whatever you want on the internet. But that may not always be the case, because there's no guarantee that you're going to agree with everything that goes on in this country. And if you dare stand against it, you're going to get censored too. Freedom of speech is important for all of us, not just one side. Thank you all so much for watching, and I appreciate your face. You know what I think about them taking away our free speech? I'll show you. Revolution.
Those who remain neutral in the battle were cursed to be born with black skin. This is the Mormon explanation for the Negro race.
The first time I saw this cartoon, I was still a totally active member of the Mormon Church. And when it came to this point, and it explained this portion about how black people were less valiant in the pre-earth life, so they're cursed with black skin, I thought, that's totally not true. We don't believe that. That's just anti-Mormon propaganda. Unfortunately, it does turn out that it is completely true and that there's a long history of this doctrine, but it was not taught to me because the Mormon Church has attempted to totally brush it under the rug. In the book Mormon Doctrine from 1966 by Bruce R. McConkie, he expressly explains this doctrine. Those who were less valiant in pre-existence and who thereby had certain spiritual restrictions imposed on them during mortality are known to us as black people, though he says Negroes. To date, the Mormon Church has never apologized for the damage done by this racist doctrine. They just try to pretend like it never happened.
TikTok is working overtime to try to bait the black population on this app, and they're not falling for it. And the white folks getting mad about it. I mean, it is a work of fucking art. Thank you.
All right, this is going to ruffle some feathers, but hear me out. Every person who says there is not a problem with racism in this country is in fact a racist. And if that statement makes you mad, you're probably one of them. I will explain myself though. If you can look around this country and look at all the things that are happening and you don't see a problem, that means that you think that everything that's happening is justified and right. And that, on its face, is racist. So if you find yourself bristling at that, and you're the type of person that is not okay with being even a little bit racist, then you should probably spend some time unpacking those feelings, because it's really only a problem if you refuse to do the work to change.
You're not gonna invade our men's privacy. Your privacy? You're in public, bro.
They're not going to show you who they are, so stop recording them. Start recording the U-Hauls. Get every identifying number, license plate, door tag, whatever. And then we start reporting those to U-Haul. And we start telling U-Haul that they keep renting their vehicles out to white supremacists so that they can file out like a bunch of fucking Nazi clowns in a Goebbels birthday parade to spread bullshit across the United States, and they're using U-Haul to do it. That's what we do.
Imagine being
such a pathetic excuse for a human being that you're still continuing to lick the boots of those who are literally taking real-life humans and shipping them off to a different country. And before you start in with well, them being here is a crime, you know what else is a crime? Your wife's bad spray tan and the fact that you haven't washed your ass once in the last 35 years, but you don't see us trying to rip you away from your family and send you off to a prison camp, now do you? And if it was really about it being a crime, and we both know it's not, because there's been actual lawful U.S. citizens taken as well, which you scream fake news to, but that's because your reading comprehension is so fucking low you can't even decipher past the first paragraph of a legitimate news article. But if it was really about it being a crime, then you would be okay with those criminals getting due process, like every other criminal here, right? Oh, but it's not about it being a crime, is it? So tell me, how does the shit on that boot that you're licking taste? Does it taste better than your rampant racism and your lack of empathy? I really hope so, because with the tariffs rising and the ships not coming to port and the shelves going empty, that shit that you're licking off that fucking boot is gonna be the only meal you have left to eat.
They're wearing men's underwear as their masks. They're hiding their faces with tidy whities from thrift stores. And this is what they're proud of. This is what they've been screaming the whole time. They are proud boys wearing underwear on their faces. They are fairies, yeah. They are fairies, yeah. Wearing men's underwear to cover their faces because they are fairies, yeah.
No one today trusts America. You talk to the leaders in Europe, not one of them trusts America. You go to the Middle East, not one of the leaders that I've met a number of them, trust America. The only one who trusts America was a military intelligence chief of Israel. And I said, you're the only one in the world that trusts America. And his answer is, I have no choice. That means he knows that he doesn't trust America.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sad thing. I mean, speaking as an American, it really hurts me to see that happen. I think the world is going to be a really messy place when that is the case.
Oh, okay. Let's not go there, okay?
If you don't like it, take me to jail. Take me to jail, bud. If you don't like it. What are you going to do?
Okay.
If you don't like it,
I need
take
you
me
to
to
stop
jail.
being disorderly in public, please. Okay?
Take me to jail.
Let's take him for disorderly. Okay, we got kids in the store. Are you going to stop?
I'm sitting here trying to get medicine for my toe that might be cut off.
Okay. Well, you're screaming out racial slurs with a whole bunch of people around and kids. And what was that?
I was talking to this.
And I'm asking you, what did you just say to her?
What did I say to you?
You have no issue saying it, so go ahead and tell him what you said. I'll tell you right now, if you throw out another racial slur with people standing here, you're going to go to jail. So stop. Okay, come here. $10.95. Who's our caller and do they want him barred? No, you're going to stand right here. No. Are any of you authorized representatives of the store so you can bar somebody? I need one of you to do so, please. He just spit in my face. Oh, okay. On top of that,
Police brutality. Police brutality. I got my stuff in there too. I got a chair and a phone charger. Police brutality.
have a seat.
Wait. Police brutality.
Wait, I'm gonna search him You real didn't quick. search him yet? Okay. If you spit on my officer again, we're gonna add an additional charge. Do you understand that? Do you understand?
Police brutality.
Shut up. I just need one person to tell him that he's barred from the store and how long for. We recognize up to 2 years, so I need any representative to do that. So let me ask you real quick before I put you in the car. You got anything you shouldn't have shoved up your ass or anywhere else?
Do you have an ID
Perfect.
for him?
Not right now.
I've got a hernia.
You have anything I can wipe my face off with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have your ID with you?
My ID.
Okay, that's fine.
When I say I would quite literally rather burn everything I own and then piss and shit on the ashes and then go live in the fucking mountains before I ever paid reparations, I mean that.
It's not the fact that her video where she talks about not wanting to pay reparations to African Americans got 20,000 likes. That got my attention. A lot of people don't want to pay reparations, but what got my attention was the comments and the things she was saying and liking. No, this woman is a full-on racist. In the comments, she said, even if I owned slaves yesterday, I still wouldn't pay. She says, not to mention the cities they've destroyed, the men who died to free these hominids. Hominids are like apes, monkeys, gorillas, also humans. She made this video on one of her accounts. She has two.
I better never see no white bitch wearing no braids.
This woman is literally going on a full-on rage. And they're backing her up, man. I'm telling you, if I wasn't married, hey, I am too. And I guess she's married. What phenotype is this? They went on to type N. She put I. Somebody else put GG. No, this is insane. This gets so insane that I can't even put these. I swear to God, freeing them was not worth it. She is posting as we speak.
So here's the issue with what you said. It's not about being a queen or being beautiful. Yes, all women are. But the minute you said I'm proud to be white is where you lost me. I'm neither proud nor ashamed of being white. It's something I have no control over. I'm proud of being a good person. I'm proud of being a great mom, a great friend, but proud of being born with white skin? No. Now, why do I not have a problem with black women saying it? History. For hundreds of years, the black community was so beat down and told that they were nothing, that they were less than, that they weren't human, that they weren't beautiful. So now that they are recapturing their power, I don't have a problem with that. So a black person saying black is beautiful or I'm proud to be black doesn't have any impact on me one way or the other. So I'm not proud of being white or ashamed of it. I'm just me.
Harvard just did something kind of wild and barely anybody's talking about it. They're offering free college-level courses online for every U.S. citizen. And not just random stuff. We're talking about how the U.S. government actually works, what's really in the Constitution, and how to recognize when a country is sliding towards dictatorship. And yeah, that means I go to Harvard now, and so do you. Seriously though, this isn't a drill. This is one of the most prestigious schools in the world that just gave us all a front row seat to the kind of education that used to be locked behind Ivy League gates. And now they're teaching us how power is supposed to work and what it looks like when things are starting to break down. It hasn't officially launched yet, but when it does, I'm signing up, because if there's ever been a time to understand how our democracy works and how to keep it from slipping away, I'd say that time is probably right about now. And, you know, if you're looking for a job, it's always nice to have Harvard on your resume, right?
Sometimes I like to start my sets off with a prayer. If everybody would please bow your heads, just take the person's hand beside you. First, I want to ask, Lord, that you would just protect our real president, Donnie John Trump. That you would put a Jesus force field on him and just protect him from the 91 felony indictments that he did not do. He did not do any of that. The entire justice system is the deep state. Totally innocent. All judges are liberal activists. I want to thank you for Donnie John. I pray that you help people to quit messing with him and saying that he cheated on his third wife while she was pregnant with his fifth child with a porn star, and then he used legal campaign funds to pay her hush money against the law. Lord, we weren't there. We don't know what happened. He could have been witnessing to her, and he dropped his Bible, and then he fell into her hoo-ha. You don't know. Lord, I want to thank you that Lauren Boebert was finally able to reach across the aisle to give that dude a hand job during a family performance of an American classic. I want to thank you for the party family values and their leaders like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who recently slept with her CrossFit coach and a sex guru, whatever that means. Lord, I want to thank you for my home state of North Carolina and my North Carolina legislature, that they are able to stay laser focused on what is truly important. They're not distracted by little nuances like being last in teacher pay or 42nd in education. No, sir. They're not sidetracked by trivial details like crumbling roads, bridges, or infrastructure. They're able to zero in on what is your will, Lord, which is making sure which potty people go TT and poo-poo in. Amen. Look here, I mentioned the North Carolina bathroom bill, HB, PV, and look here. I want to be clear about something. I love everybody, okay? I think we all ought to love everybody, even if we're different, especially if we're different. We ought to show each other love and kindness, okay? Yeah. If you didn't cheer, you're a homophobic racist. And look here. I don't think we need a bathroom bill, okay? I don't care what kind of wee-wee you got. Just get in there, poop, and wash your hands. That's it. We don't need legislation for that. You know what I mean? If we're going to legislate some part of the bathroom process, how about we legislate the hand washing? You know what I mean? How about some kind of legal guarantee that I'm not going to get fecal matter on my hands when I go for a salutation? I want to lobby against the shit shake. You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous. Or how about legislation that puts a privacy wall between me and this fella I'm pissing beside that I've never met in my life? I need a wiener wall. You know what I mean? I got another fella's pecker out 8 inches from my right thigh. His urine is sprinkling on my pantaloons. I'm not trying to wash them every time I wear them, okay? It's not a homophobia thing, it's a laundry thing. I need a wiener wall, it's ridiculous. That's a wall every American can get behind, okay? It's divisive in a good way. Build the wall, build the wall.
Alrighty guys, so there's this guy that's in the Trump White House. His name's David Beatty. He's a white supremacist. And he actually had to leave the Trump administration in 2018 because he was found at a white supremacist meeting. Anyways, his name's David Beatty, and he is creating a blacklist of disloyal Americans to Trump, a very Soviet fascism style kind of tactic to weed out the disloyals. And yeah, anyways, so Trump is going to be starting a war in Iran soon, and he doesn't want disloyalty at all. He's very paranoid, kind of like somebody we knew, an Austrian artist. Anyways, there's a list of words that you can't say, and if you say these words, the government's going to find you and put you on that list. All right, here's the words: Pepe the Frog, Incel, QAnon, Black Lives Matter, Great Replacement Theory, Far Right, and Infodemic. If you use any of these words, type them out, say them, use them as hashtags, the government's going to sniff you out, and they're going to put you on that list as a disloyal American. If not fascism, why fascism shaped?
$5,000. I'm sorry, $5,000 for a baby? What's that going to get you? A couple months? You're going to have a baby for Donald Trump for $5,000? Please don't. Please don't. If you're not in a stable place already, if you need $5,000 to have a baby, please don't do it. This is about nothing more than creating more worker bees to hold up their capitalist system so that billionaires can keep getting richer. And they want to give you a measly $5,000 while they're taking away SNAP, WIC, Medicaid. Come on. I think we should all completely halt on having any babies right now. I can't believe this is where we're at in America.
So apparently white supremacists are flocking to Mountain View, Arkansas because they feel comfortable up there. I can tell you, I did not see that one coming. Actually, I did. That's probably why they won't hire me to play music up there, because I'm a mix.
Somebody please tell the South African super dork that you don't get to just say you are all of a sudden done spending politically and suddenly you get to skip off into the sunset scot-free. No, sir. You have spent several fortunes fighting for tax cuts from the Fanta fascists for you and your friends while American citizens suffer. This is not something we will soon forget. Not when you're the same dick weasel who supplied us with Doge. You know, the same dudes who defunded the National Weather Service. Yeah, that National Weather Service, the same one that would have sent warning to St. Louis that they were about to experience severe weather. Instead, they were served silence, and now 27 souls have been sent to the past tense. That's 27 souls that now sit squarely on the shoulders of that rich piece of shit and every single one of you Republicans who supported him. And before the members of the elongated Muskrats Tech Bro Militia come for me in my comment section, remember, no matter what you say in that sentence, what you are essentially saying is it was worth spending those souls to save a multi-billionaire some motherfucking money. And that, no matter how you spin it, makes you a piece of shit. Rest of y'all have you a wonderful day. Keep the motherfucking boots out of your motherfucking mouth, and remember that the golden rule will always remain yeehaw fuck the law. I love y'all. I'll see you down the line.
So currently, Texas lawmakers are pushing a bill that's going to require all public classrooms to display the 10 Commandments. Why would they do this? Well, some people are going to argue that they offer a solid moral foundation. But is this religious code truly the best or most inclusive ethical guide for a diverse society? Let's take a look at the first 3 commandments. The first one, you shall have no other gods before me. Second, you shall not make for yourself an idol. Third, you shall not take the name of the Lord God in vain. Now, right off the bat, these don't offer universal moral lessons. They focus on worship and loyalty to a specific deity, a jealous one, by his own admission. That's not guidance on how to treat one another, and it's inherently exclusionary to people of other faith, or no faith at all. Another commandment says, honor your father and mother. Now, respecting family is important, but what if a parent is abusive or neglectful? Automatically demanding honor ignores the complexities of individual experiences. Morality should be rooted in compassion and justice, not blind obedience. Then there's a constitutional issue. The First Amendment guarantees freedom of religion and freedom from government-imposed religion. Forcing a religious text, especially one that explicitly promotes one specific faith, into public school violates that principle. So, let's say we didn't do the 10 Commandments. What would be a better list? Well, here's an alternative. 10 principles that reflect human dignity, mutual respect, and freedom values we all can agree on. First, treat others with kindness and empathy. Second, respect the rights and beliefs of others even when different from your own. Third, act with honesty and integrity. Fourth, protect and value human life and well-being. 5, take responsibility for your own actions. 6, seek justice and stand against oppression. 7, help those in need when you are able. 8, care for the earth and its creatures. 9, learn continuously and think critically. 10, support the freedom of others to live and believe as they choose. Now, these values are not tied to a specific religion. They don't exclude anyone. They encourage what makes us better neighbors, citizens, and humans. Let's teach our children principles that unite us, not divide us. And let's keep the government from endorsing any one religion, because real freedom includes the right to choose what we believe. Thank you, and follow for more.
Shocking breaking news. America is no longer the leader of the free world. Trump has sent us to the back of the line in less than 6 months. Right now, as the U.S. slashes funding for refugee support, pulls back on foreign aid, and cuts off partnerships with global institutions, China is sending aid to Gaza. They are funding infrastructure in sub-Saharan Africa. They are building goodwill and strategic alliances across the globe. And it's not just about clarity. This is a power move. While American leaders are busy fighting culture wars, filling their pockets and bank accounts, and targeting universities, China is quietly securing influence across regions we used to lead. We are falling behind, not because we are weak, but because we are distracted, because we have stopped investing in what really matters: education, science, alliances, and moral leadership. This isn't just about losing power, it's about losing who we are. We are America, the United States of America. We are supposed to be the leaders of the free world, and right now, thanks to Trump, we lead in nothing but arrogance. Follow me on Instagram and Substack for the full story and all updates. 8647 and his entire cabinet. And FYI, That means get him out.
Want to know how to take out a rising dictator? Take out the pillars propping him up. With the DOJ on its way to find criminal contempt, Pam Bondi is in her weakest position yet. This might be our best or only chance at this. Now, usually bar associations will dismiss complaints unless they are brought by an actual client or associate or boss. But the truth is that all of the American people are actually Pam Bondi's clients right now. Make this go mega viral because we need a few 100,000 people to do this. Screenshot this information right here and do 2 things. Number 1, start calling once a day, bringing a complaint and requesting Pam Bondi be disbarred. Number 2, submit a letter in an envelope through the USPS. If we clog up their system with a few 100,000 envelopes, they can't ignore us. Donald is already starting to turn on Pam Bondi and throw her under the bus for the mishandling of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case. If we can divide them, we can make them weaker. Make this go mega viral over the weekend, and we'll all drop our letters in the mail on Monday.